let me start with a question that might hit close to home. Have you ever wondered what makes a man think about one woman long after she's gone, but forget another almost instantly? Why is it that some women live in a man's memory like a permanent tattoo, while others fade like they were never even there? Think about it. Maybe you've had a relationship where even though you gave so much of yourself, it felt like you were replaceable. He moved on and suddenly you were just part of his past. But then you've probably also seen the opposite happen. Maybe you've noticed how a guy you dated years ago still checks in, still remembers little things about you, still can't quite let go, even if his life has moved on. That's not luck. That's not about looks. That's about a very specific energy you brought into his world. See, here's the thing. Men meet hundreds, even thousands of women in their lifetime, but only a rare few leave an imprint that lasts till infinity. It's not about being perfect. It's not about trying harder. And it's definitely not about competing with other women. It's about unlocking the qualities that make you unforgettable on a soul level. And that's what I want to share with you today. I want to break down the exact 5 keys that make a man never forget you, no matter where life takes him, no matter who else he meets. So if you're tired of being the one who gets left behind and you're ready to become the woman who stays on his mind forever, this is for you. Because once you embody these 5 things, trust me, you'll never be forgettable again. When it comes to leaving a lasting impression on a man, something that makes him carry you in his heart long after you're gone, one of the most powerful things you can give him is the feeling of safety. And I'm not talking about physical safety here, I'm talking about emotional safety. Most men, believe it or not, don't often get the chance to truly let their guard down. From the time they're little boys, they're told to man up, to be strong, to hold it together, to not show weakness. So what happens? They grow into men who walk around with invisible armor on, projecting confidence, toughness, or control. But inside, they're craving a space where they don't have to perform. Now imagine this, he's been out in the world all day dealing with pressure from his job, expectations from society, maybe even unresolved issues from his past. Everyone wants something from him. Everyone expects him to show up in a certain way. And then he walks into your presence. And for the first time, he doesn't feel like he has to be on. He doesn't feel judged, compared, or pressured. Instead, he feels like he can exhale. That's unforgettable because very few people in his life give him that kind of peace. Being his safe space doesn't mean tolerating bad behavior, lowering your standards, or becoming his therapist. It means creating an energy where he feels accepted for who he is, not just for what he does, not just for what he provides, but for his soul. It's about listening without instantly criticizing. It's about allowing silence without making it awkward. It's about encouraging vulnerability instead of mocking it. When he tells you something personal, something he wouldn't normally admit, and you hold it with care instead of using it against him, that's when he says to himself, she's different. I can trust her. A men may be attracted to looks, drawn to chemistry, or entertained by fun moments, but they attach to the person who gives them that emotional refuge. And here's the thing, when a man feels safe with you, he doesn't just remember the conversations, he remembers the feeling he had when he was with you. Humans are wired to chase feelings, not just experiences. He may forget the dinner date, the movie you saw, or the exact words you said, but he'll never forget the peace he felt lying next to you, or the comfort of opening up without fear of judgment. That's why even years later, long after the relationship ends, he might still say, there was something about her. I've never felt that kind of ease with anyone else. And here's the beautiful part. When you become his safe space, you don't lose your power, you amplify it. Because most women think the way to hold on to a man is to keep dazzling him, to keep competing, to keep giving more. But in reality, the one thing he can't replace is the sanctuary you create for him. Looks fade, excitement fades, but peace, that stays rare forever. So if you want to be unforgettable, focus less on being perfect and more on being present. Focus less on proving yourself and more on letting him feel that with you. He can lay his armor down and still be accepted. Do that. And I promise you won't just be another person in his past. You'll be the one who stays in his heart long after everyone else is forgotten. One of the most powerful ways to make a man never forget you is to leave a little mystery. And let me be clear here, mystery doesn't mean playing childish games. It doesn't mean ignoring him just to get attention. And it doesn't mean pretending to be someone you're not. Mystery is about pacing the way you reveal yourself so that he's constantly leaning in, curious and excited to discover more about you. Because here's the truth: when a man feels like he's figured you out in the first week, you lose a certain spark. But when there's depth, when there are layers, when he senses that there's more to you than what he sees on the surface, you become unforgettable. Think about it, human beings are wired to value what they work for. If you give away every detail about yourself instantly, you rob him of the beautiful process of discovery. Part of what bonds people is that gradual unfolding, finding out new things, being surprised, realizing that there's always more to explore. When you keep a little mystery, you keep him invested in that journey. This doesn't mean withholding your personality or being cold. It's about balance. If you meet a guy and on the first few dates, you tell him your entire life story, every heartbreak, every trauma, every opinion, you may feel like you're connecting, but in reality, you're not leaving space for him to earn deeper access to you. Think of it like a great novel. You don't want to know the ending on page 3. You want to savor the story. In relationships, the same rule applies. The women men never forget are the ones who allow the connection to build in layers, who keep some parts of themselves sacred until the trust and intimacy are strong enough to hold it. Now, here's something important. Mystery is not about silence. It's about selectivity. You can still be open, warm, and engaging while leaving certain things for later. Maybe you don't always answer every text immediately, not because you're playing hard to get, but because you genuinely have a full life. Maybe you don't rush to explain every detail about where you are or what you're doing, because you want him to learn about your world naturally, piece by piece. Maybe you share your passion slowly, letting him see new sides of you over time. That's not manipulation, that's healthy pacing. And here's the beautiful part: when you keep a little mystery, you also keep your independence intact. You remind him that you have a world outside of him, your own friends, hobbies, dreams, routines. That independence makes him lean in more because he realizes he doesn't fully own your time or attention. He has to keep showing up, keep investing if he wants to discover the next chapter of you. That's what keeps you unforgettable. He never feels like he's finished unwrapping the gift. Men are not just attracted to beauty, they're attracted to curiosity. They want to wonder about you, to think, what else is there about her that I haven't seen yet? That wondering is what keeps you in his thoughts long after the date is over, long after the relationship ends. It's why even years later, he'll remember you as the woman he never completely figured out, the woman who always kept him intrigued, the woman who wasn't desperate to hand over every piece of herself on day one. So if you want to be unforgettable, don't confuse availability with transparency. You can be present, you can be genuine, but you don't have to give away everything all at once. Let him earn access, let the connection breathe. Keep him guessing, keep him discovering, keep him leaning forward. Because mystery is not about what you hide, it's about what you choose to reveal and when. And that, my friend, is what keeps you living in his mind till infinity. There's something powerful that separates the women a man remembers for a season from the women he remembers for a lifetime. And that's the difference between being desired and being inspiring. See, desire feels good. Every man loves to feel wanted, admired, and appreciated. And of course, that's important. You should absolutely let him know when you're attracted to him, when you admire something about him, when you enjoy his presence. But if you want to be the woman who lives in his mind forever, you have to give him more than desire. You have to inspire him. What do I mean by that? Inspiration is when your presence makes a man want to become better. It's when being with you naturally pushes him to raise his game, not because you lecture him or nag him into it, but because the way you live your life sets a standard. Think about it. A man might desire you because of how you look in a dress, but he'll never forget you because of how your energy made him strive for more. Inspiration happens when he sees you taking care of yourself, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. It's when you're pursuing your passions, showing up for your goals and refusing to settle for mediocrity. That energy is magnetic because it communicates, I'm not just here to orbit around your world. I have my own. And when a man witnesses that, he can't help but want to rise to meet you at your level. That's unforgettable. The key is that inspiration doesn't come from trying to fix him. It doesn't come from mothering him or telling him what he should be doing. That just creates resistance. True inspiration is subtle. It's him watching how you carry yourself, how you handle challenges, how you refuse to abandon your standards, and realizing, wow, I need to be the kind of man who deserves to stand beside her. that thought, that feeling burns itself into his memory. And here's what makes it so powerful: men forget women who made them comfortable staying small, but they never forget the woman who made them grow. You might think he only wants fun or ease or someone who goes along with whatever he says, and sure, that might keep him around for a while. But the woman who makes him look in the mirror and think, I need to be better because of her, that's the woman who changes his life. And when someone changes your life, you never forget them. The beauty is inspiration also protects you, because when you're living as an inspiring woman, you're not begging for his attention. You're not sitting around waiting for him to text back. You're busy becoming the best version of yourself. And ironically, that's what makes him chase you harder. He sees you as a prize, not because you told him you're a prize, but because you live like it. So don't just desire him. Yes, compliment him, enjoy him, appreciate him. But more importantly, live in a way that makes him want to step up. Share your vision, show your discipline, embrace your passions, and demonstrate your values. That's the combination that creates a lasting imprint. Because one day, even if the relationship doesn't last forever, he'll look back and think, she was the reason I grew. She was the reason I became more. And that kind of impact, that's impossible to forget. If you really want to understand why some women stay on a man's mind for years, even decades, it comes down to this: emotional anchors. At the end of the day, people don't remember every little thing you said or every place you went together. What they remember is how you made them feel. And when those feelings are tied to powerful, specific moments, they become emotional anchors, memories he can't shake, no matter how much time passes. Think about your own life. You probably can't recall what you ate last Tuesday, but you can remember a moment from years ago where you laughed until your stomach hurt, or a moment where you felt seen in a way you never had before. Why? Because emotion cements memory. It takes an ordinary moment and makes it unforgettable. That's the exact same thing that happens in relationships. If you want a man to never forget you, create moments that stir emotions in him: joy, laughter, vulnerability, passion, even challenge. Now, this doesn't mean every day has to be some grand, dramatic experience. In fact, it's often the small, unique moments that stay with him forever. Maybe it's the way you sang off key in the car, but made him laugh so hard he almost cried. Maybe it's the late night conversation where you opened up about a dream you've never shared with anyone else, and he realized how much trust you placed in him. Maybe it's the spontaneous adventure where nothing went as planned, but it turned into a story you both retold over and over again. Those are anchors. They're not just experiences, they're feelings he associates with you. The beauty of creating emotional anchors is that they're deeply personal. No other woman can replicate them because they're tied to the chemistry and the connection that only you two shared. Another woman might be prettier, might be funnier, might even be more compatible on paper, but she can erase the memory of how you made him feel in those unique moments. And feelings are powerful, they stick. One of the strongest anchors you can create is vulnerability. When you let him see a side of you that not everyone gets to see, it makes him feel special, trusted, significant. When you listen deeply to him and hold space for his truth without judgment, he anchors that sense of safety to you. And when you share laughter, fun, or adventure, he anchors joy to you. Over time, he begins to associate you with emotions that elevate his life. And trust me, that's addictive. Here's the secret. You don't have to force these anchors. They're not about manufacturing drama or putting on a performance. They're about being intentional, showing up authentically, being present in the moment, and letting yourself fully engage with him. Too many people go through relationships on autopilot, scrolling through their phones, distracted, never creating meaningful moments. The unforgettable woman, she knows how to be in the moment. She knows how to turn an ordinary night into something special. And here's the part that makes this so powerful. When the relationship ends, those emotional anchors don't fade. If anything, they become even stronger in hindsight. He might not think about every detail of your time together, but he will remember the way he laughed with you, the way he felt accepted by you, the way he felt alive around you. And that memory will pop up when he least expects it, when he hears a song, when he passes a place you went, when someone says a phrase you used to say. That's when it hits him you're unforgettable. So if you want to stay in a man's mind till infinity, stop worrying about being flawless and start focusing on creating emotional anchors, because he won't remember every outfit, every makeup look, or every witty line you ever said, but he will remember the way you made him feel, and those feelings will outlive everything else. There's one thing above almost everything else that makes a woman unforgettable in a man's life, and that's how she handles the ending. See, anyone can shine when things are going well. Anyone can be fun, attractive, exciting, or passionate when the relationship is new and the chemistry is high. But the way you choose to carry yourself when things fall apart, that's what etches you into his memory forever. And the most unforgettable women are the ones who know how to walk away with grace. Here's why this matters. Most people, when a relationship ends, let their emotions take over. They beg, they plead, they lash out, they send long emotional texts, they throw blame, or they break down in ways that leave them feeling powerless. And while that's human, it's not what makes someone unforgettable, because in those moments, the other person just sees the drama. But when a woman can love fully and still step back with dignity, when she can leave without losing her self-respect, when she can walk away instead of clinging to someone who no longer chooses her, that leaves a mark on a man's soul that never goes away. Walking away with grace doesn't mean you didn't care. It doesn't mean you're cold. It doesn't mean the breakup doesn't hurt. What it means is that you choose to honor yourself even in heartbreak. It means you respect yourself enough not to beg for crumbs of attention, not to fight for someone who isn't fighting for you, not to lower your standards just because you're scared of being alone. It's saying, I loved you, I gave my best, but if you can't see my value, then I'll let you go, because my worth doesn't depend on your recognition. That kind of strength, that kind of self-possession, that's unforgettable. Here's the thing: men may forget the girl who chased them, the one who tried to force them to stay, the one who broke down every boundary just to hold on to them. But they never forget the woman who left with her head high, who didn't make a scene, who didn't burn the house down on her way out. Because in that moment, he realizes something powerful. She didn't need him to validate her. She chose him. Yes, she never needed him to define her. And that's a rare kind of energy. Years later, he may not remember every detail about your time together. He may not remember every argument or every goodnight kiss, but he will remember the feeling he had when you walked away. He'll remember the respect you carried for yourself, and that image will stick. In fact, many men only realize a woman's true value when they see how she handles the moment she could have fallen apart. But instead, she rose. And here's what's really powerful: walking away with grace doesn't just make you unforgettable to him, it heals you faster. Because you're not stuck in cycles of drama. You're not degrading yourself to keep someone, and you're not wasting energy on someone who isn't choosing you. You move forward, you grow, and you keep your self-worth intact. That's the kind of woman who doesn't just survive heartbreak, she transforms from it. So if you want to live forever in a man's memory, don't just focus on how you start the relationship. Focus on how you finish it, because the beginning might be exciting, but the ending is what defines you. And when you can close that chapter with grace, I promise you, he'll never forget you. Not today, not tomorrow, not ever. So if you've been wondering what makes a man never forget you till infinity, it's not about being the most beautiful woman in the room, or the funniest, or the one who tries the hardest. It's about the energy you bring into his life. It's about being his safe space when the world is heavy. It's about keeping a little mystery so he's always leaning in. It's about inspiring him to be a better man just by the way you live your own life. It's about creating those emotional anchors that tie his memories of you to powerful feelings. And yes, it's about having the strength to walk away with grace when the story ends. These are the qualities that live in a man's heart forever. They can't be replaced, they can't be forgotten, and they can't be ignored. And the best part, every single one of these qualities is already within your reach. You don't need to become someone else to be unforgettable. You just need to step into the most authentic, grounded, powerful version of yourself. Because when you do that, you don't just leave a mark on his life, you leave a legacy in his memory. And whether he admits it or not, you'll be the woman he compares everyone else to. That's how you become unforgettable. Now, if this message resonated with you, do me a favor. Hit that like button so more women can see this. Make sure you subscribe if you want more videos like this that help you not only understand men, but also step into your most confident, magnetic self. And if you know a friend who needs to hear this, share it with her, because every woman deserves to know the power she holds to be unforgettable. And remember, it's not about being everything to everyone. It's about being unforgettable to the right one.